Mega Mobass says, Nick, I've been a long time follower, a long time supporter. I want to believe you being sober is a big step, but I would never forgive you if the state's allegations are true. I don't want to believe it. Thank you, Mega Mobass.
Yeah, man. I wouldn't forgive me if the state's allegations are true either. But the funny thing is, people are conflating their own allegations with the state allegations. Again, with the like with my 9-year-old, for example, the state hasn't alleged that we gave to a 9-year-old. They haven't done that. People have alleged that online because they're trying to figure out this result, which seems aberrant and impossible. Well, guys, it seems aberrant and impossible to us too. Again, but the state hasn't even come to that conclusion. That's purely an internet thing. So, God, you'd have to watch someone else to really like start breaking down the sort of issues with that result, I guess is the best way to say it. I'm trying to word this politically in my brain as we go, but with that result, a great person to watch is Robert Barnes talk about these results and why they're very problematic in general. I'm not really able to talk about it, but Barnes did a really good rant about it. And, there's some stuff in there that people should pay attention to, because believe it or not, you may not think this can happen to you, but it can.
My Spirit to Yours says some states require all CPS and social workers to be licensed unless they work for the county. Minnesota is one of them. So CPS workers risk losing license for misinterpretation unless they work for the county. Citizens would find this unsettling, in my opinion. Thank you, My Spirit to Yours. Can you explain what that means, Nick?
Well, I'm not 100% sure about licensure requirements in the state of Minnesota for CPS workers, because I don't do child protective cases. I never really did. It's a soul crushing to do them, and I don't like it. The child protection I have done was literally protecting children privately from abusive fathers, mostly abusive mothers on occasion, but with restraining orders and things like that. But that being said, yes and no. I mean, government workers risk losing licensure and stuff all the time for their bad actions, but the risk of losing licensure it's not that simple. When a government grants a license to someone and then tries to take it away, because it's the government, they're now trying to remove a privilege or even a right in some cases, because you have a right to that licensure so long as you meet the requirements and haven't forfeit that right, just like everything else, right? So taking that right away from someone involves notice in a hearing, an opportunity to be heard on your side of the story. It's an infringement. And oftentimes the government has no interest in pursuing those infringements when their government workers engage in those misrepresentations, because those misrepresentations benefit the state very often. And again, remember who they're usually infringing against is usually someone without the means to really fight back. The overwhelming majority of CPS cases involve very low income people. And there's a reason that they do. It's because they don't have any way to get out of the system. They're often dependent on services already. There are social workers involved in their lives at the onset. And those people are also generally at higher risk for crime and other dangerous situations. So they get a free pass on a lot of this shit, licensed or not. But yeah, anything really, though, any CPS workers without a licensure requirement is kind of problematic. My thing is, I want to know how many of the CPS workers actually have kids, because there's a lot of people without children who will tell you how you should be raising children from a government. It's like, have you even tried?
Right.
So that's always fun. People are like, oh, you should have a lot of time now. It's like, well, no, because now I have different hoops to jump through for the government. Those all happen during business hours. And then, of course, our visits with our kids take priority over everything. So doing those things during the week has made it hard to make a predictable schedule, because they don't like say, okay, well, you're going to see your kids this day, this day, this day, this day. They open up a calendar and you have to grab the times that are available. So until that evens out, it's still going to be erratic. Sorry, I don't want it to be, but that's just how it is for now. But I am working on that. And again, it's going to be a shift into the daytime. My show will be much, much earlier in the day.
So there's an actual schedule where you can see your kids. So
it's not a schedule. We have to, there's a place and you have to like sign up for times, but in terms of protecting myself. But I'm talking about confirmation bias. I'm largely talking about government workers. Cops, investigators, in any sort of field of government where they do investigations, they get a set of facts and they've seen this fact pattern in some way that's close before. And so they construct a story and they have to start fitting in puzzle pieces that they don't have information for. Well, those puzzle pieces look a certain way and fit a certain pattern a lot of times. And when they don't fit a pattern, they start to ignore the things that are outside of the pattern. And I can't really say much more than that, but I'm largely talking about government workers. There is confirmation bias for a lot of people online too, because I'm
Sleepless in Minnesota says Cody and many other streamers have been concerned about your alcohol substance use. Several commented that you dismissed their concerns. Regrets, maybe unfortunate event saved your life.
Oh, I don't think this event saved my life in any sort of way. People were concerned about my alcohol and substance use, and I tried to allay those concerns as much as possible by saying, no, I have a lot of problems going on in my life. But dismissing them is not, I wouldn't call that entirely accurate. People express concerns, and some people, you give them as much of the story as you can based on how well you know them. I've talked with Camelot very openly about a lot of issues going on in my life. He knows a bunch more than the audience ever will. And that's fine. Like that's what friends are for. And sorry, you guys don't get access to all of that. But no, I mean, do you have regrets? Well, I was arrested. Wasn't really fun. But I don't know that any streamer or anybody had said anything to me that would have prevented that from happening in any particular way, because the circumstances around it are kind of, they're noteworthy, we'll say. But no, I mean, guys, you can't live your life in regrets. Do I wish things would have happened differently? Sure. Do I think I was going to die otherwise? No. I mean, not even close. Again, the overwhelming majority of my problems were seriously life-related mental and emotional issues. Coping with alcohol, I was never close to drinking myself to death, even if some days I kind of wish like maybe I wouldn't wake up.
Yeah. Reform Convict says, when you get your kids back, get the hell out of Minnesota. Thank you, Reform Convict. Appreciate you. Kevin Brownell says, why did Nick pay a bondsman as to pay the entire bond himself in getting it back at the deposition of his case? Disposition.
You mean as opposed to why pay a bondsman? Do you have $50,000 just sitting around that you want to give to someone and then have that gone for a while? Or do you want to pay $5,000? Like, can you part with $5,000 or $50,000? I mean, that's the question.
He got a brutal super chat for you. He says,
yeah,
the heat allergy is going to suck in hell.
No. Yeah, man, that's going to really be bad.
God damn, Johan. Jesus.
Dude, it sucks in Minnesota. I don't want it. I mean, in hell, it's going to be but hell's cold, actually. It probably won't be bad. Like, because if you go all the way down to the bottom, read Inferno, bitch.